Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good evening, good evening. You are welcome to our live Vibrant Midlife live event. This is probably about our sixth time we've been on here now. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. I've had a full-on weekend, but that's okay. I'm here. Apologies, I jumped on a few minutes late because the weekend's been so full. I've just had a lot to do, and so I just took a few extra minutes. I hope you are all well. I'm wondering if somebody's here. Please tell me who you are. Just please pop who you are in the comments, because I can't necessarily see. So tell me who's watching, who's with me. Who's with me? Who is with me? Tell me who's with me. Anyways, so yes, this evening we want to talk about menopause and our food. Menopause and our food. Menopause and our food. So yeah, I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to just jump straight in, but obviously hopefully most of you in the community, or if you're joining us new, I would then just say, hi Karen, how are you? Thanks for joining. I would say that as you are aware, Vibrant Midlife is a faith-based as well as an evidence-based practice. So I think I'll just go first of all to our starting point in terms of God's take on food. And so let's see what he says. There are two verses I have there. It says, I give you every seed-bearing fruit on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it, they will be yours for food. That's a verse in Genesis, chapter 1, verse 29. And then God also says, therefore, whatever you think, eat or drink, or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. So just we set that as our starting point. So that's God's take. And so when we're talking about food as it relates to menopause, it's a case of, why do we need to be mindful of our food? What is it that's so important about what we eat that's crucial for us to know? I think a few points I'll mention here. Food is medicine, and honestly, I know that you may have heard that being said, but it's honestly not cliche. It is so, so true. The foods we eat are so crucial to how we show up and how we feel at this phase of our lives. Some food ward off disease and make us feel better, and others are implicated in disease. Some foods give us hormone balance, which is important for us, how we manage our symptoms, and others not necessarily so. Some, will actually aggravate our symptoms. So our food choices are important in menopause. Hi Toro, hi, thanks for joining. It's nice to see you here. Our food choices are also important for our gut health, for our brain health. Our gut is the seat of our well-being. That's our whole, from our mouth to our backside is where, we need to be mindful of how we look after our gut. Just for, our immunity, our overall health and well-being. And our food choices and some of our food strategies are also helpful for weight management, which is another thing that we need to be mindful of at this phase of life. Excuse me, I've just got something that's... And so if I was to summarize this whole presentation, I would just summarize it in 3 words. Eat more plants. God says he's given us every seed-bearing plant and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. That's speaking more to plant-based, being plant-based. That's not to say we all need to go vegan. I'm not vegan. I'm not vegetarian. I eat a balanced, I eat all food groups, but I do have a plant slant in the way that I eat. I also wanted to say that whatever I'm sharing here is for information purposes. Obviously, you need to speak with your own healthcare professional. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritional therapist, but I've brought to the fore some of the things that I know are evidence-based, some of the things that I've also experienced in my own life and in my own practice. So just to put that out there. And I know that the two ladies watching me, you know me, you know about Vibrant Midlife, you know who I am, etc. But I'm also conscious that we might have women that would watch this that don't necessarily know who I am. So I just thought I'd give a brief intro as to who I am. So I'm Buki Ayode. It's a pleasure to have you here in the Vibrant Midlife Hub. It's a pleasure to have you watching this video if you catch it on the replay or if you come into the hub after this live. And yes, my background's pharmacy. I've been a pharmacist for too many years. Worked predominantly in the pharmaceutical industry within medical affairs as a consultant. But I'm also principal consultant of Vibrant Midlife Wellness Practice, which is a CIC, a community-based social enterprise, which is that's where we have the Vibrant Midlife Hub and all of that. And I mentioned earlier on, we use a unique faith and evidence-based approach to menopause care. It's menopause practice, it's menopause coaching, it's menopause awareness. I also currently, apart from what I do within Vibrant Midlife, I also currently lead a work stream on the National Menopause Programme at NHS England. We've been responsible for launching National Menopause Guidance at NHSE, also launching a number of e-learning modules and just creating resources to support the NHS workforce in this area of menopause. The NHS is one of the largest workforces in Europe, employs about 1.3 million people. And of that, 1 in 5 is in the age bracket, that could be impacted by the menopause. So we recognize that, we need to support those women, to retain them, to help them to feel, to help them to thrive at work, not just survive. Yeah, I speak on all things women's health. Published a journal, the Vibrant Midlife Wellness and Affirmation Journal, and I know some of you have that. And I'm mother to 2 young adults, so on and so forth. I think all of that is fine, but I think what is most important is my passion. My passion is to see women healthy, women thrive, women be well at this phase of life so that they can fulfill their purpose and they can have impact, because women at this phase of life are phenomenal women who have a lot going on for them. And my mission is that no midlife woman is left behind. Hi Liz, it's lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Hi Toro, hi Shade, thanks for joining. So that's that. Let's move on. So Vibrant Midlife Wellness Practice, we do menopause awareness sessions. We do awareness sessions like this on a number of topics. We run workshops, we coach women, and we have a consultancy arm where we go in and talk to organizations and help them support their women in their organizations. So let's look at food. We've talked about why the importance of food, why we need to focus on this area, and let's look at some strategies, some midlife food strategies. I think predominantly we need to be thinking about a hormone balancing diet. We need to be thinking about a blood sugar balancing diet. And some of the things that help us with that are plants, as I spoke about earlier on. Proteins, they're quite helpful. So it will be proteins. It will be, if you're not, if you're not vegetarian, vegan, it will be animal proteins, and if you are vegetarian, vegan, then it will be plant proteins. And I'll probably give a few examples as we go along. I also want us, when we think about food, let's think about a word, antis. And what are antis? Antis are anti-inflammatory foods and antioxidant foods. Again, predominantly you will find these within the plant, the vegetable, all of that. And you will find these also in spices. So things like turmeric, for example, things like ginger, those are anti-inflammatory product. Antioxidants, a lot of the colorful vegetables are antioxidants. They will have lots of antioxidants. And why antis? Antis because when you anti-inflammatory and antioxidants help us minimize chronic disease. They help us balance hormones as well. So those are the things we need to be thinking about. Eating nutritious foods full of fiber. I've talked about antioxidants that ward off chronic disease. So our cardiovascular diseases, our diabetes, obesity, and when we eat these foods, we are improving our gut health. We are improving our brain health as well. Other strategies that we need to be aware of, we need to cut out processed packaged foods, fast foods. These are not wholesome, and these are the ones that are implicated in disease. Our oils, for example, we need to be mindful of the kind of oils we eat. So a lot of the oils that we pick off the shelf from the supermarket, all of those processed oils, the canolas, the sunflower, the rapeseed, they're all processed, and they are inflammatory oils. So we're needing to look to things like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, those kind of things. We need to reduce or cut out sugars. Blood sugar spikes implicate our hormone balance and aggravate our symptoms. So we need to be mindful of those. Like what I said here, sugar disrupts our hormone balance. Some other helpful food strategies will be planning our meals, possibly keeping a food diary as well, because just to know which foods implicate you in certain ways. Planning. So when you go to the supermarket, have a food plan that informs your shopping list. So those naughty things that are not helpful for us, they're not on the shopping list, so they don't come back home with us. The other thing is portion sizes. We need to be mindful of our portion sizes. We need to be mindful of eating up to just that 80% rather than 100% full. And hydration, that's also very, very key. I say hunger sometimes mimics thirst. When we feel hungry, sometimes just a good drink or a cup of tea will take the hunger away. We don't then need to eat. Then we're managing our calories. We need to plan our snacks. So I don't say we shouldn't snack, but we need to plan how we snack. We need to snack on things that are helpful for us. So we're looking at our nuts. We're looking at I use, when I want something sweet, I would use dates, for example, as a snack rather than cake. But a lot of all of these things I'm talking about, we go a lot deeper when we run our workshops, because there's only so much we can do in an information session. I've talked about hydration. The other thing that I want to say is that whatever we choose to do, we're not doing anything faddy, anything that's all of these drastic things that are not sustainable, because those things are not sustainable. We also need to be doing choosing foods that we like, choosing foods that we have easy access to. we also need to be choosing things that are suitable to our lifestyle, because that's what's helpful for us. So let's look at what can we then eat. What is it we should be eating? Just some example. I'm just going to throw out a few examples here. Obviously, this is not an exhaustive list, but for hormone balance, for example, we look at things like the cruciferous vegetables. So we're looking at broccoli, we're looking at cauliflower, we're looking at cabbage, we're looking at some of the leafy greens. So spinach, kale, those kind of things are really good. When we look at brain foods, let's look at oily fish. So oily fish like salmon, oily fish like mackerel. So those are different price points on the oily fish spectrum. We look at things like trout. Trout is an oily fish. Walnuts are very good. You would actually see that the walnut is shaped, it looks like a brain. That's a good nut that's a good thing to have. Blueberries obviously are packed full of antioxidants. Some of the fruits that we should consider, I would encourage us to steer away from the sugary fruits and focus more on the berries. And in environments where we don't have berries, we can focus more on citrus. Watermelon is good. That's a good one to have. Avocado is a good fruit as well, and tomatoes. So carrot. The other things that are good are carrots. There are sweet potato. That's a good one. Yams. Again, the hormone replacement therapy, especially the ones that are used transdermal, are actually derived from yam. We talk about there are other things like phytoestrogens, flax seeds, soya, but again, be mindful of some of those estrogen, phytoestrogen type foods, because depending on your medical history, if you have, some estrogen containing plant foods can actually aggravate some symptoms if we tip the hormone balance in a certain way. So yeah, just be mindful of that. I've said, eat more plants. The other thing that's quite key, you will hear in menopause circles, is eat a Mediterranean diet. And I didn't catch Mediterranean diet here, because we can all just do a search and find out what is a Mediterranean diet. Typically, it consists of mainly fruits and vegetables. Consists of mainly vegetables, of a wide variety of vegetables, and it will be a protein. But a Mediterranean diet isn't necessarily suitable to all palates. So. I remember right in my early days when I would speak to women, they would say to me, "Oh, Bookie, yeah, that's all good to be talking about a Mediterranean diet, but I like my home foods." So we've created a solution for that. But I'll talk during the week. I'm going to, all of this week, I'm going to be focusing on food within, all of what I do in social media. So keep an eye on the hub, and we'll come through with a solution that's not Mediterranean, that's, takes into consideration Afro foods as well. Other strategies. If you have a plate, if you look at your plate as a whole circle, when you put your food on your plate, half of the plate should consist of a vegetable, combination of some sort. Then you take another quarter of the plate should be a starch, which could be your brown rice, your bulgur wheat, your whatever. Another quarter should be a healthy fat, and then the other part is protein. That's the way to balance our meals. And when we do that, honestly, our gut will thank us for it. We'll also begin to see that once we start to shift the way we eat and not focus on weight and focus on fads, just as a matter of course, the weights that we, sometimes carry around the middle at this phase of life, it just begins to dissipate. The other thing I wanted to say is focus on spices as well. So your gingers, your turmeric, you know, nutmeg, that's a I say nutmeg, I beg your pardon, cinnamon is a really good, it's not a sweetener, but it adds a good flavor to certain things. Yeah, cinnamon, peppermint. So that's good for, you know, when sometimes we feel bloated. Mint is really helpful to help the digestion. So these are some strategies that I felt I would bring to the fore today. As I said, I'm covering foods in throughout this week, because we're, you know, in the way that we do our social media, we're going back to our pillars. We have a whole set of, you know, pillars, mainly lifestyle pillars, because as you know, I focus on a lifestyle, a natural approach to menopause care. That's not to say that I'm averse to HRT, but I always feel that when we put these pillars in place first, they help us, you know, and might not necessarily, once we get things right this way, we might not necessarily need to go into HRT or the HRT route. So that's it. Summary: let's eat more plants. Let's think about what is it I like, what are the foods that I can eat that are suitable for my lifestyle, and what is sustainable. I hope you found it useful. Thank you, ladies, for all joining me. I really appreciate you being here. If you found it useful, please comment. Please put your comments in. Let's just create. The more we interact in the hub, the more visibility the hub gets, the more, you know, we can bring more people in. Invite your friends and sisters that you care and love, because they all need this information. And yeah, keep an eye out in the hub for more things that I will share as we go along during the week, and that Afro solution that I talked about. It's been lovely being here. Thank you for watching, and God bless you all. Have a wonderful week ahead.